Dames en here, die akademiese prosesie sal binnekort inbeweeg. U word versoek om asseblief op te staan.
Bomma le bontate, molokoloko wa diruteri o tla tsena mo nakong e kopana. Le kgopelwa ho ema. Ladies and gentlemen, the academic procession will enter shortly. You're kindly requested to stand.
By the power vested in me, I hereby constitute this assembly as a legal congregation of the University of Pretoria. During this assembly, degrees with all the associated rights and privileges will be conferred on the candidates whose names appear in the program. Please take your seats. Ladies and gentlemen, we request you to join us in silent prayer or meditation to give thanks for the achievements of our students. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, as Vice-chancellor and Principal of the University of Pretoria, I extend a hearty word of welcome to you at this graduation ceremony. I'm welcoming the Acting Dean of the Faculty of Law, Professor Cornelius, the Acting Deputy Dean, Professor Mudiri, the Assistant Deputy Director for Student Recruitment, Mr. Sibotu, chairpersons of schools, heads of departments, directors, emeriti and honorary professors, and other lecturers and their spouses present here this afternoon, the representative of the Student Representative Council, Amish Nsangagase, all persons on whom degrees will be conferred this afternoon, all spouses, parents, and other parties, as well as dignitaries of whom we may not be aware. So it is a great privilege for me to welcome you today to this graduation ceremony, where we will honor 117 soon-to-be graduates spanning different undergraduate and postgraduate programs within the University of Pretoria's Faculty of Law. 18 of our students will today graduate with their Doctor of Laws degrees. This is a day on which you can all be extremely proud. I would say that you have run the race with perseverance and you have crossed the finish line, not without a good deal of sweat and labor, I'm sure, but I would like to extend my congratulations to each and every one of you. The University of Pretoria is proud of your achievements and honored to have you as part of the South African's leading faculty of law. You have been equipped to become a key driving force behind access to justice, to create and ensure an equitable, just, and fair society for all. And we are excited by how you will take on these most critical challenges of our time. At this moment, I also would like to say thank you to your parents, guardians, family and friends who have played an important role in getting you to this point today. I also wish to extend my gratitude to the University of Pretoria's laws, donors and friends of the faculty, whose enduring support enables the potential and the capacity to produce world-class graduates who will go on to achieve significant things for the greater good. We truly appreciate your sacrificial contribution to the faculty. The Faculty of Law here at the University of Pretoria strives to be an internationally recognized leader in socially relevant legal research and education in South Africa and in the world. In addition to being ranked as the #1 law faculty in South Africa, the Times Higher Education World University Rankings by subject 2024 ranked the Faculty of Law 65th globally, a commendable accolade for this engaged and connected faculty, which houses a number of research chairs, research centers, units, and institutes, including the renowned Center for Human Rights, the Center for Child Law, and the Law Clinic, serving community and amongst others. The Oliver Tambo Law Library hosts the largest Law of Africa collection in the world, and the University of Pretoria Law has a distinguished and unequal national and international track record in moot court competitions over the past decades. There is actually much more that one can say, but perhaps it is the differences made to people's lives, both big and small, that speak the most about the ongoing success of the faculty. For those of you who are not continuing with the studies here at the University of Pretoria, and who are going forward into articles or into your chosen niche, we trust that by using the law for good and never losing faith in the capacity of the law to do justice, you will be strongly and visibly experienced as drivers and collaborative agents of change. There is much work to be done across many spheres of our society, both locally and also on an international level. And we look forward to hearing of the contribution and the impact you are making. Remember that far from leaving the University of Pretoria, you become a part of our network of 300,000, actually more than 300,000 alumni globally. Carry the Tuck spirit with pride. Stay connected. Give back where you can, and be ambassadors of the UP way of excellence, perseverance, respect, creativity, innovation, diversity, growth, kindness, and make a difference every day. So to our graduates, congratulations once again, and we are immensely proud of you and wish you everything of the very best for a wonderful graduation day and future chapter ahead. Thank you. I now request the Dean to introduce to me the candidates present whose names appear in the program.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor and Principal, the supervisors will now introduce the doctoral candidates to you.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor and Principal, I introduce to you Ms. Esther Muchwa-Asimwe, who has complied with the requirements of the degree Doctor of Laws with a thesis titled International Investment Regime Reform, Integrating Sustainable Development into Uganda's Bilateral Investment Treaty System, prepared under my supervision and with Professor Ricky Vandrach of the University of Western Cape as co-supervisor. In this thesis, the candidate examined Uganda's Bilateral Investment Treaty, or BIT system, to determine its compatibility with sustainable development imperatives and interrogated the extent to which the current BITs expose the country to legal, economic, and regulatory risks. The study identified substantive and structural weaknesses in Uganda's BITs and considered international reform efforts from new generation investment agreements, including the African Continental Free Trade Agreement Protocol on Investment, the Investment Facilitation for Development Agreement of the World Trade Organization, the Southern African Development Community and East African Community model BITs, and the South African BIT reform process. The study found that Uganda's BIT system is outdated, overly protective of investors, and poorly aligned with Uganda's sustainable development goals. It recommends terminating unratified and problematic BITs and renegotiating existing ones, and proposes a new model BIT that aligns with Uganda's evolving development priorities. Mr. Vice-Chancellor.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Laws with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate. Congratulations. Well done.
So, Mr. Vice-Chancellor and Principal, I introduce to you Isaac Brian Cole Gunther, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Laws, with a thesis titled A Framework for Bank Resolution in Namibia, prepared under the supervision of Professor Corlia van Heerden. In this thesis, A Framework for Bank Resolution in Namibia, the candidate analyzed the current legal framework for resolving failed or failing banks in Namibia. This analysis, conducted through a comparative study that juxtaposed the legal framework for banking resolution in Namibia against the developments in Germany and Nigeria, using the FSB key attributes of effective resolution regimes for financial institutions as internationally recognized benchmark. The study found that despite some progress in designing a bank resolution framework for the orderly and effective resolution of failed or failing banks in Namibia. Further, critically reform is needed to align with international standards. The candidate made significant recommendations to amend the current Namibian bank resolution framework. This thesis makes a substantial and contemporary contribution to the body of research on bank resolution in developing countries. Mr. Vice-chancellor and Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Laws with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate. Congratulations. Well done.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor and Principal, I introduce to you Gideon Adolf Gerber, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Laws with a thesis entitled Assessing the Beneficiaries of the Broad-Based Black Economic Empowerment Program within the Normative Framework of International Law and the Constitution, prepared under the supervision of Professor Koos Malan. In his thesis, the candidate established that the category of beneficiaries engendered by the Broad-Based Black Economic Empowerment Program fails to square with the normative standards of international law and the Constitution for the promotion of equality. It was found that the broad legislative definition of black people as the beneficiaries of BBBEE is incompatible with the rigorous criteria of international law and the substantive equality standards of the Constitution. The overbroad categorization of beneficiaries, combined with the design and implementation of the BBBEE program, has caused the abuse of the program, resulting in repeated undue gain for affluent classes to the disadvantage of the majority, falling within the lower socioeconomic classes. The candidate advocates for an improved delineation of beneficiaries for the program, focusing instead on black people of the lower socioeconomic strata. Mr. Vice-Chancellor and Principal, I now request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Laws with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate. Congratulations. Well done.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor and Principal, I introduce you to Kulebogile Grace Mbebe, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Laws with a thesis entitled Negation and Naturalization, Tracing the Logic of Discovery in the Promotion of National Unity and Reconciliation Act 34 of 1995. In this thesis, the candidate critically examined the Promotion of National Unity and Reconciliation Act, arguing that it reinforces colonial jurisprudence and historical impunity, despite its stated aim of promoting reconciliation. The candidate developed a concept of the logic of discovery as a tool to demonstrate how the Act and the broader discourse of transitional justice negate indigenous sovereignty and naturalize European conquest and racial domination. The thesis drew on African philosophy, settler colonial studies, and historiography to interrogate the politics of time underlying the South African transition and to challenge the entrenched colonial foundations of post-1994 South African law. The thesis thereafter proposes alternative approaches to repairing and resolving colonial injustice that uphold the right of indigenous peoples to social, political, and economic sovereignty. Mr. Vice-Chancellor and Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Laws with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor and Principal, I introduce to you Rolls Douglas Walter, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Laws with a thesis titled Impact of the Basel Accord on small indigenous banks in developing countries. The case of Zambia, prepared under the supervision of Professor Corlia van Heerden. In this thesis, Impact of the Basel Accord on small indigenous banks in developing countries, the case of Zambia, the candidate examined how the Basel Accord rules affect small Zambian banks. The study that found Basel I and II stabilized Zambia's financial sector, but Basel III negatively impacted on many small banks, often forcing mergers with larger foreign entities. It highlights the Zambian financial system's strong link to globalization, foreseeing long-term instability. Recommendations include the Zambian Central Bank lobbying the Basel Committee for better conditions and avoiding uncritical adoption of foreign rules. The thesis suggests addressing funding gaps via low-cost paper markets and long-term low-interest loans and exploring non-Basel solutions. It advocates for international bank classification and radical reforms in global standard setting to create simpler rules for small banks in developing countries. This research is vital because small banks support small and medium-sized businesses, fostering economic growth that larger banks often overlook. Other recommendations include industry protection for local small banks. Mr. Vice-Chancellor and Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Laws with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate. Congratulations. Well done.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor and Principal, I introduce to you Sakata Balobe Nally, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Laws with a thesis titled The Provisions of the South African Competition Act 89 of 1998 relating to small and medium-sized enterprises, prepared under the supervision of Professor Corlia van Heerden. In this thesis, the provisions of the South African Competition Act 89 of 1998 relating to small and medium-sized enterprises, the candidate critically analyzed the provisions of the South African Competition Act relating to small and medium-sized enterprises, both before and after the 2018 amendments to the Act. This is because SMEs are vital to the economy, but their efficiency depends on their ability to compete and participate fairly and effectively in the market. This is one of the purposes of the Competition Act. To achieve this objective, the research evaluated the adequacy of the provisions of the South African Competition Act relating to SMEs. The thesis considered international best practices for the treatment of SMEs and examined the provisions in the Competition Act and various key cases relating to the treatment of SMEs. The South African approach was critically compared with the approaches and treatment of SMEs in the United States and the EU. The thesis concludes with recommendations to enhance the Competition Act's effectiveness in promoting SMEs, emphasizing that well-designed competition laws can significantly support growth and sustainability. Mr. Vice-Chancellor and Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Laws with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate. Congratulations. Well done.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor and Principal, I introduce to you Frida Omaganu Shifutoka, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Laws with a thesis titled The Compliance of Namibian Intellectual Property Laws with the Agreement on Trade-Related Aspects of Intellectual Property Rights, prepared under my supervision. In the thesis, the candidate examined the compliance of Namibian intellectual property laws with international standards, in particular the TRIPS agreement. The study's main purpose was to determine the level of compliance of Namibia's intellectual property laws with the TRIPS agreement, focusing on copyright, trademarks, and patents. The conclusion is that, with a few exceptions, there is an acceptable level of compliance of the current intellectual property laws with the TRIPS agreement. However, some gaps were identified, and there is a need for legal reform to address them. In the reform process, Namibia should consider its national development plans and policies, existing intellectual property protections, and enforcement measures to ensure that they will continue to comply with the TRIPS agreement. Mr. Vice-Chancellor and Principal, I now request you to confer the degree on the candidates.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Laws with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor and Principal, I introduce to you Van der Lid Johan Daniel, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Laws with a thesis titled A Trans-Border African Crypto Asset License to Promote Economic Growth and Deepen Financial Inclusion, prepared under the supervision of Professor Corlia van Heerden. In this thesis, a trans-border African crypto asset license to promote economic growth and deepen financial inclusion, the candidate explored how financial technology, fintech, particularly crypto assets, can transform Africa's financial landscape. The study focused on 5 countries: Mauritius, Kenya, Zambia, Namibia, and South Africa, assessing their fintech activity, economic benefits, and the potential for financial inclusion. A key emphasis was placed on regulatory frameworks, identifying risk and proposing mitigation strategies. The thesis makes a significant contribution by proposing a trans-border licensing framework for crypto asset service providers inspired by Europe's markets in crypto asset regulation and the Commonwealth Model Law on virtual assets. This framework aims to harmonize regulations across African jurisdictions, enabling scalable operations and fostering innovation. A theoretical model is presented, incorporating prudential and market conduct requirements, alongside advanced supervisory tools like forensic notes and zero-knowledge proofs. These tools offer real-time compliance data, enhancing regulatory oversight. Ultimately, the proposed framework envisions Africa as a global fintech hub, promoting inclusive economic growth, simplified compliance, and improved risk management, while advancing financial inclusion across the continent. Mr. Vice-Chancellor and Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Laws with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor and Principal, the following candidates have complied with the requirements for the degree Master of Laws. Tandu Dlamini in Alternative Dispute Resolution. Samkelo Mbali in Constitutional and Administrative Law. Samantha Buthelezi in Corporate Law. Derisi Ndinde in Disability Rights. Michaela Ramduni in environmental law. Kenneth Tembo in extractive industry law in Africa. Suyata Harry in insurance law and governance. Maiteng Hlalele in insurance law and governance. Nontutuko Melo in insurance law and governance. Balehlongonolo Baloi in intellectual property law. Rumandi Potgieter in international law. Barbara Sambo in international law. Sitabiso Buthelezi in law of contract. Ayla van Vieren in law of contract. Ntandu Makunyana in mercantile law. Luandiso Mgiyema in mercantile law. Ntokozo Mnisi in mercantile law. Lebogang Mogashwa in mercantile law. David Popula in mercantile law. Kiara Dunerain in private law. Ursula Kabineth in private law. Mariska Maritz in private law. Chepang Mokhokong in sexual and reproductive rights in Africa. Kulani Dumazi in tax law. Nontandu Dlamini in tax law. Rushan Swartz in tax law. Marjorie Appelman, Mr. Vice Principal and Chancellor, the following candidates have complied with the requirements for degree Bachelor of Laws. Marjorie Appelman. Armand Kremer. Samantha Guinness. Aziwe Gule. Lendukukle Gumede. Lishan Hubert. David Creer. Dimakatsu Lekola. Bonoyolo Lobby. Gotatso Madiba. Matsubane Mayepa. Asande Magude Leilela. Bonolo Mahudi. Palesa Mayake. New Mamosasana. Chimwemwe Mangani. Okay. Mukhadi Mangena. Gugu Masilela. Thank you. Risuna Masuku. Andiswa Machoba. Yondela Machoba. Simpiwe Mokhabudi. Mandisa Mosana. Sekhufatsu Motasedi. Sorry about that. Rendani Mpego. Chepo Mtsweni. Nklanipu Nundlovu. Sedzani Nechitungulu. Thank you. Give him a moment. Clement and Kubeni. Notandu Nsele. Letukutula Nyalunga. Dineo Pugubie. David Kwabe. Simile Rafani. Wanga Ramohoma. Unabu Ramashala. Tumelo Ramakuase. Imad Sali. Bokang Selepe. Tazkia Sahib Joseph. Masingita Chabalala. Kaidi van der Ros. Chart van der Walt. Roelof van Wijk. Kuzulwandle Vilakazi.
Let's give our graduates another hand of applause for a wonderful achievement. So I like our graduates to stand up, good exercise and blood flow. And I would like you to make some eye contact with your family members and give them a warm hand of applause for their contribution to bring you here this afternoon. Thank you. I want you to remain standing because I also would like you to applaud and give recognition to our platform party, which mainly represents the academic cohort in the faculty. Those are the lecturers, senior lecturers, associate professors, professors that really have provided the technical content that you needed to get you here this afternoon, but also to provide other support other than technical. We often say that our academic staff at the university is the brain trust of the university. They often give us the reputation that universities have globally in terms of the quality of what we offer. And as you know, you obviously know that the law faculty has been for the last few years the top faculty in the country and on the continent. And I would like you to put your hands together for the academic staff of the faculty. But we all know that university doesn't only consist of academic staff. We also have a staff cohort which we call professional support and administrative staff. And they are the staff that you don't often see. They are the staff in ceremonies like that is on the periphery. But without that cohort of staff, first of all, the academic project which you are a recipient of would not be able to deliver effectively. In fact, it won't be able to be delivered. But they are also the staff that make sure that our lecture theatres, our offices, our rooms in our residences are clean, that our campuses are clean, our landscaping is done fantastically on all of our 7 campuses. They make sure that you are safe on our campus, but also on the way off campus. They are the people that also make sure that you get your certificate and your degree and your name is spelled correctly on that. And I would like you to put your hands together for that cohort of staff that is playing a valuable contribution to our institution. Now you can be seated. Thank you. So we now have come to the end of the proceedings, and I would like to just to say to the Dean, you've done fairly well. Thank you. Before we close, I wish to invite all present for liquid refreshments afterwards in the marquee in front of the Rembrandt Hall. You are requested to stand for the singing of the national anthem and to remain standing until the assembly has been dissolved and the academic procession has left the auditorium. The words of the national anthem will appear on the screen. So can I ask you to please rise?
Amen.
By the power vested in me, I hereby dissolve the Assembly of the University of Pretoria.
Gaudeamus igitur, iubenes dum sumus. Gaudeamus igitur, iubenes dum sumus. Post iucundum juventutem, post molestam senectutem, nos habebitur. Nos habebitur. Gaudeamus igitur, iubenes dum sumus. Gaudeamus igitur, iubenes dum sumus. Post iucundum juventutem, post molestam senectutem, nos habebitur.
Make today matter.